Emmanuel Clase has been one of the best closers in the big leagues. Last year is arguably the second best closer behind Josh Hader. And this year, he has been arguably the best, at least pushing towards one of the best. A 1.41 ERA in 40 appearances this year. But in his last 30 appearances, a 0.60 ERA with 15 saves in those 30 appearances. He's been stellar for the Cleveland Guardians, and he is a big reason why they're second in the AL Central. My name is Derek, and I'm here with Doug, and we're going to cover Emmanuel Clase right here on Bleacher Brawls. So let's get straight into it. Obviously, Clase, I think if you could say there's one thing he's known for is that very, very hard cutter he throws, over 100 miles per hour, and a very good slider. He rarely throws his four-seam fastball, mainly just two-pitch mix. But I'll go to Doug. Thoughts on Clase?
So this guy, an all-star for the first time this year, and deservedly so. This guy he spent 2019 with Texas for a little while. And then he got traded to the Indians in the Corey Kluber trade. I'm sitting in my head scratching my head right now because this guy, go look at his baseball reference page. We're going to tell you here, but he has a career 130 something innings, 131 innings, 1.51 ERA. That's insane. Like, that's really freaking good. He has, I didn't even really know he was a closer. He had 24 saves last year. He has 19 already this year. Yep. This guy just seems like he came out of nowhere. He pitched to a fifth place rookie of the year in rookie of the year voting last year. Man, I must be living under a rock because this guy slipped through my radar.
So obviously, Clase, I mean, some people have said that he's come out of nowhere. I know some people, because
I just said it.
Well, yeah, because Cleveland doesn't get a lot of media coverage. Let's be honest, especially when they're just around 500, they don't get a lot of media coverage. But you look at him, just very high velocity on that cutter, very good slider, also high velocity on that slider as well. But when the Corey Kluber trade was made, I was sitting there like, okay, why did they trade away Clase to get Kluber? Obviously, it's good work on Cleveland's side, but it was like, geez Louise, Cleveland's getting a really good guy here. And, he's worked out perfectly for Cleveland. 24 saves last year. He's already get 19 this year. In his last 30 appearances, 15 saves. In games finished, he has 36 games finished. That leads the MLB. So he's been a huge part for Cleveland's success this year. And you go to some of his, go to his baseball savant. He's 95th percentile average exit velocity, 81st percentile in hard hit rate, 99th in expected weighted on base, 99th in expected ERA, 87th in expected batting average, 97th in expected slugging, 99th in barrel rate, 81st in strikeout rate, 96th in walk rate. So even with the high velocity, he doesn't walk a lot of people. 69th in whiff rate, 100th percentile in chase rate, then 100th percentile on fastball velo, and 99th on fastball spin. So not only does he throw ridiculously hard, he also has control over it, and he gets a lot of swings outside the strike zone as well. I mean, that's just stellar.
I got this card in 2022 Top Series 2, and it's Emmanuel Clase significant statistics, and the significant statistic is his average cutter velocity is 100.2 miles per hour, which is nuts. So I'll just read the back of it because it is insane. So it says, among pitchers who threw at least 100 cutters in 2021, Emmanuel compiled the highest average velocity at 100.2 miles per hour. That was 1 full mile per hour up from his first season in 2019, and 4.8 miles per hour quicker than the runner-up on that list, Brusdar Graterol. So not surprisingly, Clase went to his signature pitch 69.2% of the time en route to a 1.29 ERA for Cleveland last year. That is nuts, right? As a hitter, it makes me think of Mariano Rivera a little bit. You know what's coming, right? This guy throws his cutter
almost 70% of the time.
70% of the time. That's what Mo did. Mariano Rivera, you knew what was coming, right? And you still couldn't hit it. So this dude is throwing hard. He's throwing the same pitch. and nobody can figure it out. That's insane. That's when you know you have a good pitcher, when you can do something so often and they know it's coming and you still can't catch up to it or tee off of it, So good on this guy for figuring something out. Whoever told him to throw the cutter, buy that man a car.
Yeah, and it's crazy too because his slider's almost like the cutter, just slower and more movement. So it's if you're sitting cutter, you're going to be ahead of the slider, but you're also going to miss out on the extra movement the slider has as well. And if you're sitting on slider, the cutter's going to be blown by you, and you're going to miss it because you're expecting the slider movement instead of the cutter movement. Whereas because the cutter's not going to move as much as the slider, so he's very hard to hit. And you would think a cutter slider guy as a right-handed pitcher probably isn't going to do well against lefties. I mean, he dominates both guys who are righties and lefties, so it doesn't really matter. And that's what you get out of a lot of the elite bullpen arms. Their dominance is because they can do it against both batters, against righties and lefties. He's been able to do that. He has a 36 ERA minus, an ERA minus. You want to be under 100. It's the opposite of like OPS plus. You want to be under. And he has a 52 FIP minus, a 141 ERA this year, 188 expected ERA, 212 FIP, and a 214 expected FIP. Very good numbers for Clase, and just he's been stellar. For a guy to have a career ERA of basically 150, yes, it's still a somewhat short career, only just 2+ years in the big leagues, but it's still very impressive to have an ERA that low, even as a reliever, because that means from day one you're pretty much dominant.
Yeah, I mean, 136 innings is, you're not a rookie anymore. You're in there a little bit. So I'm excited to see, he's going to be one of the big name closers for a long time, I believe. It'll be good to see him in the future.
Yeah, it's and the thing is for Cleveland, I'm pretty sure they signed to an extension, I think, if I remember correctly. I'm not 100% sure on that, if you want to look that up while I'm talking about it, but yeah, he's been stellar. He's going to be good for a very long time, and it's one of those things where you look back at it. Obviously, the Rangers probably couldn't have said that Clase was going to be, an all-star closer, like almost right off the bat when they traded him to Cleveland. But that's what he's been, and Cleveland's gotten an absolute bargain because Kluber really didn't do much in Texas. He was injured for that whole year in 2020, basically. So the Rangers really got that's a terrible trade for the Rangers, as they basically got nothing out of Kluber and had to give up Clase, who looks like one of the best closers in the big leagues. That's
so so this article from April 13th, he got a 20 million 5-year contract that could end up being 38 million over 7 seasons. So he'll get 2.5 million in 24, 4.5 in 25, and 6 million in 2026. And then they have a 10 million club option for 2027 with a 2 million buyout and a 10 million team option for 28 with a 10 million buyout. That's a pretty big buyout.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it looks like he is going to get bought out at all at this rate. It doesn't seem like it. A great piece of business by Cleveland, by the Guardians. Yeah. Great piece of business to get him locked up long term, and we're seeing that a lot more now. Teams locking up guys young and early. Yeah. So the annual cost of that contract is a little bit lower. But
yeah. If he continues pitching like he's pitching, he'll right now, if he had the bigger track record and he still had the same numbers, he'd be getting 15 to 17, maybe 18 million a year. And he'll be making, 10 million for the next 7 years, basically.
Yeah. The thing is that's scary about him is that, at least scary for opposing hitters, is that, he's only going to get better. That's the thing. He's young enough to where he's still getting better. And, imagine if he takes another leap up, to take another step. Like you're looking at, you're going to have a consistent all-star, might even win reliever of the year in the American League. With Hader taking a step back, kind of a step back this year with a 4 ERA. You could make an argument for Clase being the best closer in baseball.
You could. Yep. 100%.
All right. Any final thoughts on Class A before we wrap this one up?
No, I think that'll do it.
All right. Emmanuel Clase, one of the best closers in the big leagues, and he's only getting better. And the Cleveland Guardians have him locked up long term, and it's good deal for the Guardians and good for Clase to be locked down long term and have a home set for him. It's going to be very interesting. Can he get better? If he does, scary for hitters. But make sure to check out all the links in the description. The Bleacher Brawls website, podcast, Instagram, and Twitter, plus all our other stuff. And all the crew's Twitters are also down there. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. So you get notified every time we post. Make sure to stay tuned for our Twitter spaces that we do. We do a lot of them, so stay tuned for them. Yeah, make sure to check out all our stuff. We're doing making a lot of content here at Bleacher Brawls, so make sure to check it all out. If you don't like it, too bad. If you like it, keep on tuning in because we appreciate it. For Doug, I'm Derek. Thanks for watching Bleacher Brawls,
Later.
and we'll see you next time.